Well, welcome back to Food Farms and Chefs. At this time, it's an absolute pleasure to welcome to the show uh, Jess and Justin, who are the owners of a truly unique kind of farm to the table, you know, deeply personal cafe and breakfast and lunch location in Chester County called Two Birds Cafe. Justin and Jess, welcome to Food Farms and Chefs.
Thank you for
Yeah,
having
thank you
us.
very much for having us.
Oh, it's truly our pleasure. You know, your whole concept and your whole feel just tells the story of, growing up in Chester County in that area where you wanted to create an atmosphere where people were almost coming into your home and just sitting among friends and family having breakfast or lunch. That is something that's so common in the rural Chester County area. And I want to kind of separate it from Southern Philadelphia, the fact that it's you're in Chester County, not Delco. It's a little bit different. Is that what you grew up in, that atmosphere right in that area?
Yeah, I've always lived in Chester County. I was born and raised in the Downingtown area. Spent some time when I was at college up north in PA, and some time down south on Hilton Head Island, South Carolina for a little while, and then we lived in Vermont for a short period of time as well. But growing up, yeah, Chester County, where we opened the restaurant at. I mean, it's probably, 20 minutes from the house I grew up in as a kid, and even closer for Jess in the house that she grew up in Westchester. So yeah, I've always been around the area in Chester County myself.
And for our listeners who don't know, Chester County is a really diverse region. I mean, you do have areas that are much more populous, but you have Westchester, which is the most charming little college community, and then
Mhm.
you move out into the countryside. You have places like Longwood Gardens, and you have the rolling hills of Chester County. Some of the most beautiful areas in America, I think, can be found right there. So a lot of that inspiration, I'm sure, forms into your cafe. Um, so Jess, you went up north to college. You were up in Ithaca, up in lovely little winters up there that you had. But you was this passion, this food industry passion, always with you as well?
I always enjoyed cooking or baking and reading recipes, but honestly, no, not as far as a career. So I graduated with an anthropology major, writing minor, and one of those like, oh, what do I do with this? So it was a couple of years later where I was actually undecided between something in health and food because it just always interests me. So actually where I met Justin, because I never worked in a restaurant, I thought, well, I better work in a restaurant to see if I actually like it. So I just tried serving. He was a cook there, and I loved it. And I found myself hanging out more in the kitchen than I was, front of the house. And that was in March we met, and then in August I was going to culinary school.
And you're both at the Academy of Culinary Arts. Got your degrees up there. Now, were you more in the line of pastry? Was that your true passion, or did you go overall and dive in head first to as we like to refer as a culinary instructor and as a chef. I always refer to pastry as the dark side, but
And I did too. So when I went to culinary school, it was to be a line cook. Um, I've always been interested in baking, but no, that is not what I went for at all. And then coming out of it, I was a line cook, but again, always just enjoyed that side of it and kind of got more into it. And a couple years before, did like a bread boot camp at the restaurant school after work because I just love the process and learning more about it. So no, I agree with that. It was the dark side. That was not why I went to culinary school.
the two of you are very focused on local ingredients and everything like that. And what a great area to live in to have that. What challenges do you face in sourcing, ingredients in the winters and things like that? Are you facing any of that, or are you getting, all the wonderful local artisan farms now coming to you with things?
Well, yeah, winters are definitely a tough time when it comes to trying to locally source items. So I mean, we do use a produce company that will use a lot of ingredients that are seasonal at that time. They might not be locally produced in our area, but we don't try to sell anything that's not available that time of season. And then once obviously the spring and the summer, that's the best times for these local farmers to get to us and for us to get to them. It's just whatever vegetable is readily available at that season, the minute it's up that short amount of time, whether it's ramps or asparagus or fiddleheads or anything like that that's available, we try to get on it. But in the winter, you kind of have to subsidize with a local, not a local, but a produce company. They are based in the Jersey area, but you just try to use things that are really just seasonal at the time and not try to offer summer items in the middle of December or January.
Sure. Companies like Seashore and all do a really great job at that. And they, list their specials throughout the year and what's local. And you can always get great information on doing that. And it's a wonderful thing now. When I first started out in this industry, none of that existed. So it's,
Yeah.
a wonderful thing to see. Um, that being said, the creation of your menu, was it, kind of, you went to one side, she went to the other, we composed a menu and came back and blended the two, or was it, a lot of trial and error working, you creating a dish, her tasting it, Jess creating a dish, and tell us a little bit about how you came to the menus that you have now that you use.
It was like our like the story of like our lives. Like we didn't need to really try anything because it's things that we've done before, whether together or for events privately, or we've just done it so many times and so often that it wasn't really a lot of trial and error and practice. And we just took the things that we knew that we loved and that we would like to eat if we were going out to eat in the morning for breakfast and lunch, and just keep everything fresh. And we're a small place, so we have to constantly make everything daily and fresh. But when it came to the menu, it definitely wasn't like you take this side and I'll take that side. It was the collaboration, just talking and ideas. I knew the food that Jess could produce and she knew the food I could produce, so it was just talking about it enough. We didn't need to try it because we knew what we were both kind of capable of, and it was just like, oh well, I know you're going to do great at that, so we'll put that on the menu, and this would be really good. Or just it wasn't really like you have this part, I have this part. It was just, there's times that when I'm writing the menu that I'm stumped, and I'll be busting my head against the wall and always trying to come up with something, and we'll just kind of sit down and start shooting it, and next thing you know, we have a full menu done, and I'm just as excited as I was on day one about this menu as any other menu. So it's not like you're responsible for this part. All the baking things, all the creative ideas that she has when it comes to any baked goods or anything like that, 100%, that's all her. I don't have a toenail or a toe or foot at all in that pool. But when it comes to the menu, it's just, let's just have fun, and any new ideas work out.
And we'll get to the menu in just a minute, because your menu, from start to finish, is just delicious comfort food. But your cafe also has that unique feel when people walk in, that they're coming into their home, they're coming into your home, and that carries over into your service staff a little bit. So paint a picture for our listeners, what the cafe feels like if they were walking in the front door, and the people that you employ.
Well, when they walk in, you'll walk into where it's the display case and the host. And and you'll just see people and they'll greet you with a smile. More times than not, we're usually calling them by their first name because we know them.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the best parts about doing this. The food, yes, but it really is that, like you said, the neighborhood community feel. And that's what I always envisioned is I want it to do food, but I also want it to interact with people and actually get to know them. And not just be, let's just turn tables and get people in and out as quickly as we can. So I was actually today laughing because I know people, I know them, but I also know what they order. So, I was talking to someone today, like, oh, the salmon came off, but did you like the tuna? Because I'm sure you got the tuna, and and that's what they got. But that's one of the best parts. So, and I think that's what people do appreciate it about it. Is that feeling, and the servers. That's one of the things too, when we hire them, is that it's okay to talk to them, to say hi, to get to know them, because we have a lot of regulars and we love our customers. So one of the best features I think we have, it's called the community table, which is just a live edge, long high top table. It has 10 seats there. But I love just looking out there because a lot of times, solo people will sit there and you just see people talking to each other. And I just think that that's something we need to get back to, putting phones down, not looking at a screen and just talking. So it's nice that we can do that there while providing what I think is pretty great food.
You are so absolutely correct on that. And thank you for touching on that. That community table where people actually get to know each other, put their phones down and communicate and break bread. Food is our common language. It is the one thing that every nationality and every culture can share. And, breaking bread, and it seems like we've got away from that. And that's never going to lead us into a good place. Okay, about your menu. I'm going to start off with breakfast because you have toast, you have plates, you have omelets, Benedict sandwiches. And by the way, if somebody comes in and orders, 3 plates of the Southern pork belly Benedict, that'll be me. You'll know that right away. But the little touches that you guys have, like your asparagus omelet, but the fact that it's roasted wild mushrooms, a good Gruyere, some leeks, all great things that just go together. Like, you must have so much fun writing this menu. So tell us a little bit about some of your favorites on your breakfast menu.
It's fun. It's also nerve-wracking. It's fun for sure, but you always kind of want to outdo yourself from the year before, and show the area some new items that they might not be used to or if they tried. Right now, anything seasonal is my favorite right now. That the asparagus toast is fantastic. We're using local ramps. We're calling it a spring onion butter, spring onion goat cheese, due to the fact that some people might not be too familiar with what a ramp is, and they might be a little timid about it. But I mean, that's one of my favorites with the fresh ramps. We make a Meyer lemon confit out of Meyer lemons and the local asparagus that we're getting from Delaware. That's one of my favorite things. When we first opened, we had to actually, after the first week or two, we had to downsize the menu because it was too many things. And that's what I have to teach myself, is to not continually add more things on, because it can be a little bit difficult to master, each dish. But yeah, the asparagus toast is great. We do a grain bowl that we introduced a few menus ago that it just changes seasonally. The vegetables and the accompaniments with it, and that's a great one right now, with some sumac roasted carrots and some chimichurri, and again those confit lemons, and it's asparagus. It's just a great spring dish in the morning, and it's healthy, and it's a nice alternative to a lot of our vegetarian and vegans that are out there.
And a very important thing that you do is cater to all styles of palates here, and that's a wonderful thing. And when I saw your asparagus toast and I saw the charred spring onions, I was like, could that be? I was like, no, they were part of something else. So now it's like, okay, I have to get there this week and try this before the season's over. and it's such a short window to get ramps.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
but I'm looking forward. I gotta maybe make a venture down this week and do that. And then one of the other things that just caught my eye, and it's not something you see very often, but was your brisket and roasted mushrooms and sautéed onions, your omelet. And wow, you know what? It just struck me as like nobody does that. Nobody does a brisket omelet. But what a great thing that is, that richness and with the eggs and I'm assuming that's a great seller.
Oh yeah, yeah, big time. We used to have it also available as a Benedict as well. But I kind of toned it back just to the omelet to kind of make it be that one special item that has the brisket on it. And it isn't a very common breakfast item or breakfast meat, but it's so good and it's done right. Why not make it a breakfast item? And it's a huge seller. People love it. Whenever we have it on as a sandwich at lunchtime or a Benedict or anything like that. I mean, they love it. We do it all in house, and I mean that's like you said, the delicate little touches and the attention to detail is what we excel at. Is just those things that just make us a little bit different from everybody else. Is just that creativity and the fact that we make everything in house, and it's Jess and I and our employees every day doing the work, and it's not some factory made item or reproduced thing. It's our love and our attention and detail into everything that we do.
And you carry in because you're only doing breakfast and lunch, and I love that. I truly love that. But we get into some of the like a sugar snap pea salad, and then topped off with like the tangerine vinaigrette that goes with that, and the ricotta salata. Like the layers of flavor you're building into your items is just amazing. And I'm you know maybe I'm talking as another chef, but as a person who loves food, like this is just fabulous. But then the Korean barbecue pork belly, and last but not least, I just see it, and it would be I'll hang out till lunch just for your buttermilk fried chicken. I want to go and have a little of that smoked jalapeno ranch that goes with it, and
Oh yeah.
the pickled vegetable slaw. I mean, what really amazing flavor. So, what's the big lunch items there?
Well, you just said it, the
Yeah.
fried chicken. So
Yeah,
that one, we've learned from our customers what stays on the menu and what it's okay to be like, all right, we'll try something new. The fried chicken does not come off.
Never.
And people are always ordering extra of the jalapeno ranch.
Yeah.
So that's not coming off either. So that definitely is a huge seller.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, everything. The fried chicken's definitely big. Our burger's pretty good. The turkey sandwich sells really well. We have a falafel that we run right now, and that's kind of something that we ran a few seasons ago, last spring or a few years ago, and people loved it, and they just kind of demanded it and wanted it back. And we bring a lot of things back in a sense that we know that the folks love and that they're going to want each time. The falafel's a really big seller, even if you're not a full-on vegetarian and you're a meat eater. I mean, it's very filling and it's great in the flavors, and I mean, people rave about it. And I mean, there's nothing that really doesn't move or sell too well at the restaurant. It's everybody kind of has their own thing. If you want the Reuben, that's your own thing. If you want a burger, something simple, I mean, or just soup and a salad. I mean, I think we kind of touch all those different people out there who are gluten free or vegetarian. We try to appease them as well and make food just as good for them.
And your menu covers all that.
Yes.
Yes.
I was gonna say I have to jump in here because you said Reuben and I was like, oh, Reuben.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
We have like about 2.5 minutes left before we have to say goodbye. So I wanted to also ask you before jump in and ask. You had mentioned a bread boot camp. How does that come into play? Like, did you learn any tricks of the trade for creating breads for your base for your sandwiches and whatnot?
So the tricky thing, I wish I could do more. but time and space only allows so much. So like right now I do the cinnamon bread for the French toast. So it was more one of those things. I really like learning the process of things. So it just allowed me like making the cinnamon buns and different things of just knowing techniques and kind of tweaking them. I'm sure bakers would kill me right now, but I do tweak and kind of taste and not as scientific as pastry should be. That's my rebel culinary side, I guess. But so that just, it was just, I really just wanted to learn the process. Hopefully one day I will be making more breads or fresh, like New York style bagels or something to that effect. But right now I'm limited to biscuits and cinnamon buns and cinnamon bread and crumb cake and all those, and scones. Who knew scones were so big?
So as we wind down in the last minute here, a couple things I need to point out to our listeners that are very important. That yes, you are a breakfast and lunch, destination, but you also do private events. So, if you're looking to do something really special, really unique, and obviously by everything we've talked about, customizable, the two of you would certainly be people to reach out to. But the other thing that I found really wonderful about, the organization is you are so community focused. You have 5 or 6 different charities that you support and everything like that. And in today's environment, that's really, really hard to do. So that has to come from your heart, which I think carries over if anybody listened to the two of you speak into your entire story. So in our last minute, can you tell our listeners where they can find you online, where they can find you in person, and more just a brief talk about your private events?
Yeah, so you can find us at www.birdscafewc.com. That's our website. We're also on Instagram and Facebook. Email is info@twobirdscafewc.com. Since it's the two of us, you can just email us and say attention Jess or Justin to find out more. We've done, baby showers, bridal showers, even a little wedding, a birthday dinner, a couple birthday dinners, lunches. So we can really only do probably up to like 35, maybe 40 people just because of the space. But each event has, again, like you were saying, is customized, whether it's plated, buffet, hors d'oeuvres, dinner, lunch, brunch. It's really whatever people are looking for, and they can come in and decorate it and do whatever they want with the space. Again, it's a nice, we use the word cozy space. But you can call us as well, 610-222-6200. And any of those ways you can get in touch with us to find out more.
Thank you so much for coming and joining us. I cannot wait to get down and try, probably spend several hours there trying to which is, it's kind of my style. And I'm sure on the way out, I'll be grabbing some of those honeys and jams off the counter and some of the baked goods for the drive home as well. Thank you. I love your passion and just your love of what you're doing. It really just shines.
Thank you very much.
Well,
We
thank
appreciate
you.
it.
We really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us, and we look forward to seeing you.
Oh yeah.
And it's okay if you do breakfast and lunch. We have multiple people who do that.
Yeah.
So no judgment. It's a no judgment zone.
Well, I have a couple friends in the catering industry down in that area, and they actually live in the Downingtown area. So I'm going to be calling him right after this and say, when are we meeting for breakfast?
Sounds
Yes.
great. We look forward to it.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you so much. And we will be right back after this short break.